The warning signs are flashing bright red for British industries, and the latest scandal has sent shockwaves through manufacturing and agriculture alike. In a move no one saw coming, Labour's national insurance tax raid, pushed by Chancellor Rachel Reeves, has just forced a major British manufacturing titan, Connectics Cabling Systems, to shut down all 4 of its UK factories and relocate operations to India or China. This marks the first major collapse in Britain's manufacturing sector directly attributed to Labour's controversial tax policies, and many fear it won't be the last. With the survival of British industry on the line, one question looms: can the UK hold on to any of its manufacturing might under Labour's rule? But that's not the end of the turmoil. As if the collapse of manufacturing jobs wasn't alarming enough, farmers are now on the brink, preparing for a massive showdown at Westminster. Furious over Labour's new inheritance tax, the National Farmers Union, NFU, is rallying farmers to demand change before the tax devastates yet another key sector. Meanwhile, Angela Rayner has opened the door to a 4-day workweek for local councils, raising eyebrows and stoking fears of a widespread productivity drop in public services. Is Labour on the brink of triggering a complete collapse in British industry, food security and public services? Get ready as we reveal the explosive details of Labour's policies that are sending shockwaves through the nation. Let's break down this latest scandal. It's a massive, multi-sector upheaval that's left industries reeling and Labour facing immense backlash. Just in the past 24 hours, we've witnessed Connectics Cabling Systems, a massive UK cable manufacturer, announcing the end of its UK operations due to Labour's tax hikes. And as farmers gear up for a mass protest against Labour's inheritance tax, the tension is at an all-time high, so make sure to subscribe, share, and buckle up for the full, unfiltered truth on the destructive force of Labour's latest policies. Can Britain's industries withstand the storm, or will this budget spell their doom? Let's find out. Rachel Reeves's maiden budget has triggered a wave of economic and social unrest across multiple sectors in the UK. Connectics Cabling Systems, a manufacturing giant specialising in fibre optic cables with a substantial £50 million in annual revenues, has announced the unthinkable. They are pulling out of the UK, citing Labour's national insurance tax hikes and relentless minimum wage increases. With 150 employees spread across 4 factories in Essex, Connectics's closure has left these workers facing an uncertain future, marking a historic moment in British industry. As Connectics packs up for India and China, the UK faces the grim reality of potentially losing one of its oldest and most essential manufacturing sectors to overseas competition, a devastating blow for the country's already struggling economy. Kevin Hancock, the 56-year-old founder and managing director of Connectics, didn't reach this decision lightly. Having built the company from scratch in 1993, Hancock has endured decades of economic turbulence, including the 2008 recession that led to the closure of one factory and the loss of 175 jobs. His vision and perseverance led Connectics to international success, and it became one of the few manufacturing companies still producing in the UK. However, Labour's new policies have pushed Hancock and his company to the brink. In his words, manufacturing in Britain will die, unless Labour rethinks its approach to business. The combination of a 16% increase in the minimum wage over 2 years and an unbearable hike in national insurance contributions has made running a business in Britain simply unviable. The hard numbers paint a grim picture. Labour's budget included £40 billion in tax rises alongside an extra £30 billion per year in government borrowing. Companies are now forced to shoulder unprecedented financial burdens in a climate of relentless cost pressures and falling profit margins. Hancock has warned that this is just the beginning of a cliff awaiting British manufacturing, as high costs and crushing tax demands drive more and more businesses to consider relocating. The UK's status as a manufacturing hub now teeters on the edge, with Hancock's words, "Labour's policies are treating business as a cash cow," echoing across the sector. Yet, manufacturing isn't the only sector facing annihilation under Labour's tax-heavy agenda. British farmers are now standing up to fight for their survival, with the National Farmers Union, NFU, organising a massive rally on November 19th at Westminster. Enraged by a sudden 20% inheritance tax that threatens to tear apart family-owned farms, farmers feel Labour's budget shows a complete lack of understanding of rural Britain. Tom Bradshaw, NFU president, called the tax hike unacceptable, adding that it's a policy that hasn't been thought through and endangers the future of UK agriculture. David Exwood, deputy NFU president, delivered a scathing critique of Labour's new tax on farmers, saying it risks the future of British food production. Farmers already struggling with increased costs and market instability feel they are being pushed out of their own industry. We feed the nation, and this government needs to understand the impact of what they've done, Exwood said. The November 19th protest, which will bring hundreds of farmers to Westminster, is set to be a powerful show of force. For many farmers, the inheritance tax is not only financially crippling, but also represents an existential threat to a way of life passed down through generations. Exwood's warnings have been backed by major food retailers, who warn that Labour's inheritance tax could lead to an inflationary effect on food prices and create shortages. Retailers fear that without profitable farming, Britain's food security is at risk. Farmers, who have been vocal about their pride in feeding the nation, now find themselves questioning whether Labour's policies will allow them to continue. And if these bombshells weren't enough, another Labour move is causing waves. Angela Rayner's support for a 4-day workweek experiment in South Cambridgeshire District Council has sparked fresh outrage. This policy, initially introduced under the Conservative government's opposition, allows council employees to work 4 days while being paid for 5. Despite criticisms that the scheme risks reduced productivity and poor service delivery, Rayner defended it as a matter of workforce autonomy. Labour's support for this change has opened the door for other councils to implement similar policies, setting the stage for a potential shift in the working landscape for the public sector. South Cambridgeshire's trial programme was initially met with severe scrutiny, as Conservative ministers raised concerns that cutting working days could compromise service quality. However, Labour has taken the opposite stance, with Rayner stating that councils should be free to manage their own workforces without government micromanagement. Her comments sparked outrage among those who fear a widespread reduction in service efficiency, arguing that 4 days of work simply cannot meet the demand for 5 days' worth of public service. The policy, which proponents argue has saved taxpayer money and improved worker well-being, continues to stir controversy as it faces trial periods and adjustments. With Connectics abandoning the UK, farmers rallying in fury, and public services shifting to a 4-day week, Labour's policies have set the stage for massive economic and social upheaval. The budget cuts, tax hikes, and workweek changes are testing the strength of British industry, agriculture, and public services. What comes next could reshape the nation's economy for years to come, and as the pressure mounts, Labour's resolve will face its greatest test yet. Are these changes the beginning of a bold new future, or a reckless gamble that could send Britain into